Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is where we have motivational, inspiring conversations and interviews that we hope you'll enjoy listening to. If you're interested in creating more balance in your life, understanding your 5-element energetic nature, finding the path of greatest ease,
or releasing the baggage of this lifetime and discovering ancient alchemy that can help you fly in your life, join us and other inspired actioneers on this alchemical transformational journey.
Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. My name is Jay, and this is pod number 49. I'm here with my co-host, as always, Lita Herman.
Welcome back, Inspired Actioneers.
Whoop, whoop.
We're wrapping up season 2 of the podcast with one more Q&A episode today. We will try to answer a few questions from our listeners, and we thank all of you for your awesome questions. And we're sorry if we didn't get to yours yet. We tried to pick some questions that everyone would like the answer to.
Yeah, like universal questions, the meaning of life and how the creation
42.
Versus evolution. 42.
42.
This is 49, though. But
yeah,
yes.
darn.
And we're going to start to introduce a little bit of season 3, which is going to start in sometime in the very near future. I don't know when you listen to this, but it's going to be like next week.
The next episode. How's
there
that?
You go. Okay, the next episode. Yes. And we do have a couple surprises lined up.
A big surprise, a big interview lined up on the subject of happiness.
Yes. In fact, we're going to do a whole series on the topic of being happy on the way to happy. And it's about happiness and what you can do to find it.
That is a lot of happy.
Yes.
Happy
yes.
on the way to happy. I love it.
Yes, never enough happy in the world today, right?
Never enough. So today we're going to talk about our meditation app first. And I just wanted to remind listeners, if you haven't checked it out, you can find it in the App Store or on Google Play. So check it out. And we've got a general relax your body, clear your mind, open your doors meditation for your mornings. And we have a letting go meditation to do before bed. Both are free, so check them out.
We've had a lot of listeners who haven't been able to meditate in the past, and they've told us that they can meditate now with Lita, with your beautiful soothing voice.
Aww.
So that's really cool. The app is free. It's always free. Check it out if you need more meditation, to add more meditation to your life or start meditation with your life. We have, like Lita just said, we have free ones, we have paid ones, but most of the really awesome ones are free.
Well, if my voice can be of service, I am very happy to be that person in the world.
That's why you do this podcast.
That's why I do this podcast. Okay, so I also want to remind people that we have a Facebook group and we're very active with it. We also DM a lot of people on Facebook.
They DM us.
And we think it's totally fun and cool.
In case you don't know what a DM is, if you're not that cool, it's direct message.
Okay, just in case.
Which I had to tell Lita what it meant.
Yeah, stop. Let us know what you think, what's happening with you, what you think of the podcast. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and if you're normal, then please DM us.
Yes.
We don't want any photos crazy or anything like that. We just want honest, inspiring conversations.
Right.
And if you're on Instagram, you can also message us there. I personally don't do a lot of Facebook. I know that Lita does for us, but I like to do the Instagram. So it's the Inspired Action Podcast on Instagram.
Is that called like a handle or something? Like remember CBs?
Breaker
19. Now we're really dating ourselves.
Yeah, the only one I remember is what was that one? We have a roller skate in a paper bag. It means,
what does that mean? I don't know that.
That's a Volkswagen.
Oh.
That's what they say. Something like that.
But anyway,
that's our name. That's our handle. That's our ID.
Name, ID.
Inspired Action Podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can find us.
You can tell I don't use Instagram much.
No, but you like the pretty pictures, right?
Yeah, I do like the pretty pictures.
Yes, so
I do have an Instagram account as well.
Yes.
Anyway, we're going to send out a bunch of t-shirts for the questions that have been asked so far this week. So we're excited, and we plan to set up a store on the website for anyone who would actually like to buy one.
That could happen, right?
Yeah, I guess that could happen. So please ask, where to get one if you're interested, or just ask us a question.
Yeah, you could just ask us. If you know us, just ask us for a t-shirt. We'll give you one.
Or just ask us for a t-shirt.
No,
right?
no. We really want people to ask us questions, and then we'll give them a t-shirt for free.
And we even had a really enthusiastic person DM us and was just so into the podcast. We were like, we have to send her a t-shirt.
Totally.
So we did.
Yeah. So connect with us, ask a question. We will definitely set you up with a really cool t-shirt. All right. So are you ready, Lita?
Yes.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Are you really excited?
Shoot.
Woo! Don't shoot.
Don't shoot.
No, take that out.
Take that out.
It's not that kind of podcast. We're not shooting.
That's right.
We're non-violent.
Well, usually people say, shoot me a question. So
Okay.
no. Okay. All right.
Okay. How
Don't
about this?
shoot me a question.
Do not shoot. No. How about the first question in the pod? Just straight up saying it like that. Okay. Here's the first question. It's from Alex, and it's about astrology.
That's a great topic. And honestly, we could do a whole show on this one.
That's why we picked it. Okay. So here's the question from our listener, Alex, from our Inspired Action Podcast Facebook group, by the way. All right. So here, and we're going to send them out a t-shirt.
Yes.
As soon as we're done with this.
Yes.
Well, maybe not like today, but tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. So here it goes. Hi, Lita and Jay, and everyone else too. What are your thoughts on astrology? Is there a way to connect astrology to the 5 elements or stages of alchemy? I'm keen to hear about this.
I get this question all the time, Jay. And the first thing I say is whatever Western astrology you know, just put that aside when you're thinking about the 5 elements, unless you're just like a top level astrologer and really know your stuff. Because the 5 elements are really purely energetic. And, there are 5 energetic types in the world around us, and they are observable in the way things move and grow and change in the world. And in terms of people, we're born with our elemental makeup, which means that our bodies move with a specific inherent nature. So we can't say for sure what dictates that specific nature. So some of it comes from the influence of our parents, because many people are the same energetic type as their parents. So is that a coincidence? Astrologically, it seems to be much more about the parents than astrology. But we could say some of it comes from astrological events that are occurring when people are born.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So these astrological events might be used to explain why some people feel like aliens in their families, because they are totally different than either parent.
The plot thickens.
The plot thickens. So these are just theories and philosophies. We don't really know these answers, but, I like to just tell you what people have thought. So I like to talk about what I observe for myself. I, for example, am fire, but according to Western astrology, I'm a Taurus. And Jay is a Taurus, but is wood. And according to Western astrology, Taurus is associated with earth. So clearly there are some issues with trying to map the 5 elements to Western astrology.
Yeah, because I have like earth last.
Right. And I have earth third. So, years ago, my good friend, who's an amazing astrologer, Arifa, she's very well respected in astrological circles. She decided to figure all this out after she studied the 5 elements. And she discovered when you look at an individual's chart with the extent of her knowledge and understanding of astrology, it can totally be mapped to the person's element. With my chart, she saw a number of reasons why the fire element was predominant in my astrological chart.
That's really cool. Maybe we can put her link to her website in the show notes.
Oh, that sounds great. And, if you're that kind of astrologer, then maybe you can, respond on the Facebook group with some thoughts of your own.
Yeah.
But many people also talk about, Chinese astrology, which is completely different than Western astrology.
So put that aside now.
Yeah. So now let's talk about Chinese astrology. And that too can be very simplistic if you don't know a lot about it. I have people come up to me all the time and say, based on their birth year, this is, I'm Earth or something like that. And clearly,
so whatever element they are.
Yeah, clearly you cannot just look at a year you're born and try to work out what element you are. So, I've been fascinated with a guy named Joey Yap, his work, which, I'll put into the show notes. Even with his work, I do not find it easy to map exactly to the energetic 5 elements. So I would really need to put a lot more time into his work to really see if that correlates exactly.
Maybe we can get him or Arifa on the show.
Yeah, but it looks
if we do a
really
show on
interesting.
astrology.
Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Yeah.
That was a great answer, Lita. Wow. I know you just scratched at the surface, but I hope that helps Alex out a little bit more. And maybe we can open up a conversation in the Facebook group if anyone has any thoughts or opinion. That was just a great question.
Yeah, and do let us know if you think you want to know more about that, because we could interview one of those people and really try to sort of get to the bottom of the question.
And we can just kind of open it up for discussion and see what comes inspired from it.
But generally speaking, I just say put astrology aside when you're thinking about the elements.
But it could be astrological events going on.
But
I
it's
like
just,
that.
it just confuses a lot of people. All of my workshops, that's like the number one
Yeah, we get that a
question
lot.
for the five elements. Whenever we're out doing a 5-element talk, always someone asks that question. So it's a great question.
Yeah, that was a great question. All right, so what is the next question? Lita. Thank you, Alex, by the way.
Yes, we have an interesting question from Ida, who's also from our Facebook group. And she asked, hey guys, thanks for making such a cool podcast.
Aw,
I am curious to know.
that was a smiley face email.
Yeah, that was a smiley face email. We could do it like my, like Siri, smiley face email.
No, you can test it with Siri. Go ahead. It is quite funny.
Slightly smiling face.
Anyway, I'm curious to know the difference between the water and fire elements in terms of excitement. I know water is definitely my primary element, but I'm in doubt whether I have fire maybe as my second. How much excitement do you need to be a fire? I'm like, all of it.
All of it. That's really great.
Okay.
So that's a great observation because they can be sometimes confusing at first.
Yes, and I'd not really thought about it before Ida asked that word excitement, but it's true. What is the difference? We could actually say, that it's water intensity versus fire excitement.
That's great. Shouldn't we first look at it energetically in our bodies? Water intensity is the power that comes from your lower back and your kidneys.
That's a good point, because fire excitement comes from the heart. So it's the feeling of being lifted up. Remember those champagne bubbles sort of pulling up from your chest and into your eyes?
Yeah, water is much more intense and fire is much more lighthearted, really.
Yeah.
And that energy comes from the different places. Yeah.
Yeah. And lighthearted, that's a great way to put it. There is lightheartedness to fire. And another difference is that fire excitement is through sharing and interest in common things, common ground. So it has a very social component to it.
Yeah. Whereas water intensity can be more like, I don't know, just maybe moving forward, like a solitary kind of thing.
Yeah. And if it's socially happening, if they're talking to a friend and they start getting really intense, they're talking about this like intense topic, then it has a lot of forward movement to the conversation. It's like they crescendo, like music that starts calm and then it builds and it builds and it builds. And that's water intensity.
So, and then the fire excitement isn't really building or moving. It's lighter and more focused on being with the other person, like kind of connecting, that sense of open-heartedness that comes with that connection.
Yes. So Ida's question is really about this combination of fire and water too, because she's interested in herself and which one's first. So it's an interesting question. If you put both of these together, like let's say you have fire and then water second, then you get someone who has sudden spurts of intensity mixed in with their fire lightness. And I'm not sure how much listeners have gotten to experience me and my sudden bursts of laughter, but I think it comes out a little bit on the podcast. What do
Just
you think,
a little
Jay?
bit.
And so I know, Jay cracks me up a lot. And perhaps, our producer has to tone down my laugh, but it can be very loud and very sudden because I'm fire water.
We only tune it down because people listen with headphones.
Yes, we don't want to burst any eardrums.
That's all. That's the only reason why. I mean, dogs do howl in the neighborhood.
Oh no! There you go. See again. Now our
I did that on
producer's going to
purpose.
have
There
to
you go.
lower that little bit.
Yes.
Oh well. Anyway, so it's a good sign, for fire water. That's a fire water person when you get those spurts of maybe laughter or other kinds of spurts of energy. And so other kinds of fire might not be so intense or spontaneous with their excitement, but the water just, it kind of bubbles up. It's like boiling water spurting out of a teapot.
Ah, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. I don't know. That just came to me when you said that.
Okay.
I'm so sorry,
All right.
water people.
That's me. I'm a little
Yes.
teapot.
Yes.
I don't want to be short and stout.
Oh, that's
I am
fire.
short, but
I'm
not
like,
stout.
I'm so sorry, fire people.
All right. Anyway, and if you're water and then fire second, it has the opposite effect. The intensity you feel.
Wait, are they stout and then short?
Right.
Short and stout? No.
Okay.
Are they not a teapot at all?
Not
but
a
you put
teapot.
water in the teapot.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
there you go.
So the intensity they feel and want to share with the world becomes a little more shy and more held back than other waters. They get more focused on feeling for the other person's heart and maybe not being as intense as other waters would be. So if you have a water person with fire last. They don't really care that much about connection at all. They just go for the intensity of the moment. But you put fire second, then you really care about that social aspect. So it's a strange way that social anxiety comes in, and what they feel cancels out some of their intensity, and then they even look a little bit shy and awkward.
Yeah, and if you remember, we talked about the elements, the 5 elements, and the second element really does come into play sometimes.
Yes, and another way to understand these differences, I just realized, is to look at the difference between fire water and fire earth. A fire earth person's excitedness is quite calm compared to a fire water person's excitedness. The fire earth excitement, looks more like contentment and satisfaction rather than excitement. And you add the water to the fire and it really causes that boil, that steaminess, that intensity that you see.
I'm not doing the teapot song
with
again.
Fire water.
No, that was one time only. But that was a good point. And water fire compared to water earth, it is similar. Water earth is more patient, more listening, more self-confident in general. Both fire and earth are social. Okay, so in both cases, you see a social person, but the water fire is less predictable, more changeable, more spontaneous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That's a
earth
good
really
point.
grounds the water's intensity, and the fire does make it more intense.
So great. So
That was a great answer, Lita, by the way.
Yeah.
And you're on fire today. All right, so we have time for one more question.
Oh, good. We have another question from Lisa, and it's about meditations.
That's Lisa, Leesa.
Oh,
I like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So she writes, while doing the rebellious chi meditation, I find it easy to get everything I want, but I just load it up on my raft and I don't really eat any of the fruits or the items I'm collecting. I don't get to enjoy them. So she wants to know if she's doing the meditation correctly
Or incorrectly.
And, when does she get to enjoy all those things?
That is such a great question. These are just really good questions.
Yeah.
So for those of you who haven't checked out the Inspired Action Meditation app, the Rebellious Chi Meditation is one of our free meditations on the app. And it takes you down, guides you along on a little journey floating down a calm river. And while you're floating on your own personal, private little raft, like think Tom Sawyer, going down on the raft, right? Although he's always in mischief. But if you like that, no judgment, right? You can easily reach out and pick the fruits from the trees that kind of hanging over. I know this kind of comes from an Abraham meditation. It's really awesome. Going downstream, some similar to that. So the fruit represents what you want or wanting in your life right now.
Yes. So the reason I love this question, Lisa, is because you're making a very good point. The meditation is not just about picking the fruit, which is symbolic of getting what you want. You then get to enjoy having it, which if we're talking about fruit means you actually have to eat the fruit.
What if you're on keto and you don't eat fruit?
Well,
you eat some fruit.
Well, whatever.
Just make it low-carb fruit.
You could eat nuts. How about nuts from the trees? Yeah.
Yes. So the meditation is about abundance and ease and not about hoarding.
Yes. So, Jay also said to me, perhaps Lisa doesn't really feel she deserves to eat the fruit.
Or the nuts.
Because she didn't work hard to get that fruit. And some of us think we don't deserve to get anything easily. And this meditation is really important for anyone who feels that way.
Yeah. Lisa, I recommend you continue to do the meditation for a little while longer until you can start to enjoy all the things that are coming to you your way effortlessly. And if you feel that you really deserve to have it, even though it literally just fell on your raft, then that's when you're on the right path.
Yeah. Think of it this way. If someone gave you $100,000 tomorrow,
but not us.
Yeah, not us. Would you feel guilty and immediately want to give it away to someone else?
Or would you hoard it in the back room, stuff it in the mattress,
that too,
and not even spend it?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with giving it away from the perspective of if you already have more than enough, you don't need another 100,000.
Because it's an abundance. Wealth Palace is the abundance palace.
Yes.
So maybe you can go and check out the pod on wealth and abundance. And Lita, which one was that?
Pod 41.
Boom. How'd you do that?
I'm smart.
Yeah. So pod 41, Lisa, check it out.
And we're thinking you could continue this meditation, like Jay said, for a while and really concentrate on the feeling that the resources you received are really meant for you, meaning you deserve them. And guess what? They're not supposed to just sit in the bank somewhere. You're meant to do something with them.
So get them off your raft. have a great fun life.
And this is the alchemy. From that perspective, you're going to turn those precious resources into your gifts that you'll give to the world.
Yeah, resources in, gifts out.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Yeah, that's a bigger conversation as well. These were big questions, bigger conversations, which we might do in the future.
I think we should return to this conversation and do a podcast on the topic.
I love that. I love that a lot. So but first, why don't we kind of slide into what's coming up next?
Yes, season 3. We're so psyched for season 3. We're launching a happiness series entitled Happy on the Way to Happy, and we're excited to share this with you.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for those pods. They're going to be dropping soon. We've already finished the first 2, and I can't wait to share them with you.
Yes. And
Lita, don't say anything. I know you're about to give it away.
Oh, gosh, I just want to tell them.
No.
Maybe they can figure it out if we just give them a little clue. I mean, who likes surprises anyway?
The whole world likes surprises. And when it comes to fun things, that surprises are good. So how about this? It's about happy and happiness, right? And we talked to someone, we had a very inspiring conversation with someone who's very, very smart.
Yes.
And he solved it.
Solved what?
I can't say it. That's all I'm going to say.
It's okay. All right.
That's all I'm going to say.
So that's brilliant. Good job.
Okay. That's all we're saying. So if you want to figure it out from there.
It's a hint.
That's a hint. So it's an awesome couple of podcasts, and we're going to do a few more. So all right, that's a great place to end. And thank you for the questions. We're going to do this show every once in a while when we get a bunch of questions together that we haven't answered either in the group or through emails or any of the DMs that you send us. So keep sending us questions. We read them all. And if you get a second to, please rate and review this podcast. You matter. You make a difference. The more people who hear about this little podcast, the merrier. Thank you for listening. And now it's time to say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Bye. You've been listening to the Inspired Action Podcast, and you've reached the end. Woohoo! Why not celebrate a little bit and click that subscribe button right there? We love having you with us on this journey, and we want it to continue.
You can also rate and review this podcast. And if you have already, thank you so much. We read all reviews, and your reviews help other people find this podcast as well. You can also be a part of this podcast yourself by submitting a voice recording message and emailing it to us at lita@inspiredactionpodcast.com or jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com.
And if you want, you can join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram.
Join us next week for another Inspired Action conversation. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, and remember to hug the dog.